What if you could transform the choices you make and unlock your business potential? Every decision you make has the power to shift your path. You have the ability to make inspired choices that drive growth and sales. Get ready to tap into the innovative power within you. Now, here's your host of Inspired Choices for Business Growth, business optimization expert, Christine McIver.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Yes, it is Christine McIver. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Whether you are listening live or you're listening in the replay, thanks for hitting that button. Nice to have you here. Tonight, we are going to be talking about something I hear people talking about all the time, and I'm going to give you my spin on it. So tonight, we're going to be talking about how to show up real. And here's my extra, and be professional while you're doing that. How many of you have actually had people say, just be you, and you in your mind go, well, I thought I was, or I don't know how to be, or what does that actually mean? We're going to get into all of that tonight for sure. It's such an important thing, especially as a business owner, that you are showing up as you, and I will give you all the reasons why that's so important, especially if you enjoy making money. So let me tell you a little bit about who I am. I am a business optimization expert. I work with business owners to show them the gaps in their businesses and how they can leverage their businesses to grow and really bring prosperity and pleasure together into their business. If you're someone that loves what you do, but you're struggling, send me an email, Christine@ChristineMcIver.com. And let's have a conversation. You just never know where we might be a match. And if you are a coach out there and you don't have a coach, shame on you. Every single one of us that are doing our work, we need to constantly be challenging ourselves. We need to constantly be challenged because we can't see our own blind spots. And it makes a massive difference in growing you and growing your business when you do have a coach. I'm also the CEO of the Inspired Choices Network, ICN Summits, ICN Publishing, and Podcast to Bookshelf. These different businesses all come together to really elevate you and bring your voice to the world. And our what would you call it? Our foundation business is live radio shows and podcasts. So we work together, our entire team works together to bring your message to the world in every type of medium possible. If you would like to have an opportunity to learn how you can really get out there on more than 350 platforms with your voice, with your content, again, send me an email, Christine@ChristineMcIver.com. So those are just some of the things that I do. And I am also the host of this show, Inspired Choices for Business Growth, because all of the choices that you make need to be inspired, which means they need to come from within you so you can grow your business. And tonight, as I said, we're talking all about being real, like how to show up real while being professional. So I am going to read our show notes so you just have an idea of what's going to go on tonight, and then we're going to dive right in. Of course, if you are listening live, you can be checking it out on YouTube, on Facebook, or you can join us on our home website platform and ask your questions live. Go to inspiredchoicesnetwork.com/chat room, and you can have some fun with us live in the show. Okay, so how to show up real while being professional. Authenticity has become a buzzword, but few leaders understand the strategic way to be real while still maintaining authority, professionalism, and credibility. In this episode, I am going to pull back the curtain to show you how your true self, your personality, your humanity, your flaws, and your strengths, how they will, without undermining your brand or your business reputation, how you can show up with all of that without undermining who you are and what you want to do in the world. So the difference between authenticity and oversharing, we're going to talk about that, why being real builds trust faster than any sales tactic, how professionalism does not mean being stiff or robotic, what to share and what to keep private, the emotional intelligence behind intentional vulnerability, how your energy, tone, and language shape credibility, how to present confidence without perfection. I'm going to share this. I'm going to share some stories. As per usual, the universe always gives me an opportunity to learn more about the topic that I'm going to be talking about. So you definitely want to stick around for that interesting conversation. So let's jump in, first of all, to the first point. And how can we really show up and maintain our professionalism, our authenticity, and even show up with our flaws? One of the biggest things that I have learned over the years is if you are trying to, as my mother would say, put on the dog, appear like you're perfect, you are not going to come across energetically real. Now, if you listen to any shows, especially any spiritual shows or self-development or personal development shows, you know that they are talking about energy. We're all pretty up to date on that, right? We all speak energy. That's our first language. If you have a child, an infant, and you're fighting there's fighting in the home, or there's tension or whatever, the child will respond to that. They will know what's going on, even if you're not in the same room when you're fighting with someone else, or you're putting on a brave face when you're around the child. The child doesn't read faces as so much when they're an infant as they read energy. And so do you. You're reading energy all the time, whether you realize it or not. And so are your clients. So when you are showing up as perfect to try to maintain some kind of appearance so that people will work with you, you're actually going to be putting out an energetic mismatch. People are going to be not understanding maybe what is exactly is going on with you, but it's not going to match. The truth comes through in your energy, and people are learning more and more and more how to really dive in and read energy. So this is an important piece. The other thing that is really very, very important is that when you are being real, when you are showing up and you're saying, I'm having a tough day, or, you know what, I'm just in a mood today and I need to step back, right? Or you're talking about, you're having a fabulous time, wherever you are on your emotional scale, when you show up with that, it will ring true. Now, you don't need to bleed all over the computer. You don't need to bleed all over social media. For God's sakes, don't bleed everywhere. Nobody wants to hear your victim story. Nobody wants to hear your pity story. I had a client, a previous, past client rather, that I was communicating with in the last few weeks, and they were bleeding all over. They were coming to the table with a poor as me, a victim story like that was off the charts. And immediately it did not read for me. I can be an incredibly understanding and supportive owner. I can be an incredibly understanding and supportive friend. But when something doesn't read right, when it feels off and somebody's not being authentic, it comes across as they're doing push energy. And this individual, that's what they came forward with victim. And then when I didn't respond, like many people respond, that person then came forward with push energy. Push, really hard push energy. And I was like, hold on a second here. This is ridiculous. I want to support other people. I support people in businesses all the time. But when you're coming forward with that energy, what you're actually doing is you're trying to bullshit me. And you can't bullshit a bullshitter, right? Like, isn't that a saying you've heard? I don't go around bullshitting people, but I certainly have in the past. They all have, if you're honest, right? If you are willing to admit, to acknowledge even to yourself that that was once you, you're going to see the truth even faster. So it's important. It's so important that you are showing up with the truth. If somebody comes forward to me and they say, hey, I made a mistake, I really messed something up, do you think we can make an arrangement? Would that work for you? What would work for you? And have an authentic conversation, and not just through texting, right? Actually own it and ask, hey, can we have a conversation? Can we jump on a quick Zoom call? Can we jump on a quick chat? And face to face with somebody. Be willing to show up and be willing to own your mistakes, right? When you show up like that, you build trust. And your credibility doesn't start to come into question. But when you are trying to manipulate someone, when you are trying to talk somebody into something, or you're trying to persuade and you keep pushing and pushing and pushing and coming up with more and more excuses, that's when you're going to start to have your credibility wane. And truthfully, one of the biggest things that you need to be understanding with all of this showing up real means, what are your values? What is so important to you that your reputation for you would be tainted if you didn't follow those values? Identify those values. Identify what's extremely important to you. Now, if that's not something that you're comfortable doing or you haven't done in a long time, maybe think about some of those experiences that you've had in the past where people have betrayed you, where people have hurt you, where people have backstabbed you. What was it about their actions that really, really upset you? That's going to lead you to show you where your values are. You know, I have an amazing team that I work with, and I tell them all the time, listen, you're going to mess up. You're going to F up. I say this to them all the time. That's okay. Just talk to me. Just tell me what happened, right? When someone tries to hide something, that's where they start to breach the relationship. That's where they start to really bring question into who they are and what they're doing when you're not in the room, what they're doing when you're not working with them, or you're not watching every single solitary thing you're doing. I'm very fortunate that I have these questions or conversations with my team members up front, right from the very, very beginning. And I lay the groundwork to let them know they're human. They're going to mess up. We're going to do the best that we can to educate them, to train them, to show them exactly where their role is so important. But we're also going to have those conversations about, hey, you messed up. And I don't hold it back. When I see that someone is messed up on the team, that's okay. But I will come forth right away. I'll say, hey, this isn't right. And then we're going to have a deeper conversation. Is more training required? Was there a misunderstanding? We're going to get really, really clear about something. And when you are showing up and you're saying, oh, I didn't realize that, or, oh, you know what? You're right. I totally messed that up. I'm going to make a note of that. I'm going to really, really pay attention the next time I do that. That's great. You're showing up real. And you're being professional. You're owning your actions, and you're also owning what you will do differently in the future to make things better. That doesn't lower your credibility, not in my eyes. That actually says, hey, they are open to having a conversation. They don't go into defense, and they created a plan for what to do in the future. You know, if you empower people in this way and you let them know that you understand, hey, I mess up. I still mess up. I make mistakes. I'm a human being, and we have a lot of tasks that we do and a lot of different steps with it. When you own that, you actually raise your credibility. So where have you bought the lie that you have to show up perfect? Perfection is a lie. It does not exist. Now, there are a lot of people in the world, especially a lot of people teaching business, where they will talk about, oh, you need to look perfect and you want to just ignore these things and just do it this way or do it that way. Don't let people don't let on the people to other people that, you maybe don't know what you're doing. You can just fluff your way through it. Bullshit. That maybe worked 20 years ago, 30 years ago. No, that does not work today. Stop trying to mimic somebody's behavior that so far they might be successful. That might work for them, but I can guarantee you eventually If you follow that type of advice, eventually it definitely will take you down. It definitely will. I've seen a lot of people do this, and it's brutal what actually happens to them. I'm my producer saying, I'm telling Christine, meaning the boss, I'm telling Christine that you swore. I don't have a problem with swearing. That's me. That's who I am. I'm not swearing at somebody. I'm swearing about a situation. That shows you that I'm also being real. There's so many people that are trying to fit the narrative of don't be this way, don't be that way, and they're holding back. When you're doing that, and I'm not saying show up and swear like a trucker. That's not what I'm talking about at all. But when you are holding back, if that's authentically who you are and you're holding that back, the energy will say you're holding back. That's what the energy is going to say. And people will pick up that there's something that you're not being truthful and honest about. That's how they will read it. Now, they may not cognitively know that that's what's going on, but they're going to get an energy hit that something is off. And you're not going to create and generate a strong relationship with that individual because that energy is going to be off. I cannot emphasize this enough. Show up, be real, and just say, you know what, I do. I swear occasionally. I hope that doesn't offend you. Be willing to say that to somebody. If somebody says, yes, I absolutely, positively cannot handle somebody that swears. Okay, well, I guess that we won't be a match for each other then, because that's who I am. That's what I do, right? Be willing to also own who you are. And again, we're going to go on our break in just a second. But one of the biggest things is before you can truly own who you are, you've got to get to the bones of the values that are so critical for you. What is it that you have a value of that it's a deal breaker with you? And I'm going to tell you about another story when we get back from break about one of my values and a deal breaker that has really been, kind of pushing up against me. So you're listening to Inspired Choices for Business Growth. I'm your host, Christine McIver. We are on the Inspired Choices Network. Stick around. We'll be back right after this break where I'm going to dive into a lot more about being real and showing up as a professional while being real. We'll be right back.
What if every business decision you made was aligned with a clear vision for your future success? Imagine the impact on your growth and profitability. On Inspired Choices for Business Growth, business optimization expert Christine McIver challenges you to focus your decisions on the bigger picture, helping you align your actions with the future you want for your business and yourself. With her expert insights and no-holds-barred approach, Christine guides you to optimize your business strategies for sustained growth and success. Ready to make choices that drive your business forward? Tune in now to start shaping your future today.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices for Business Growth with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@ChristineMcIver.com. Now, back to the program.
Yes, back to the program. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining tonight. We're talking all about how to show up real while being professional. The first segment we started to dive in, if you're just joining, please go back and check that out because it was really, really important to set the basis for tonight's show. We started out talking about authenticity. And one of the biggest things that people have a hard time with authenticity. I've seen this. people question, how far should I be real with people? How much should I bring forward? And they question themselves. They hesitate because they're worried about what other people are going to say about them. They're worried about, again, if they were someone that played the victim, if they were someone that really put on the dog, like really tried to over convince people. If that was part of their past, I can see how they would hesitate in learning how to do it authentically while staying professional. What is so important is to understand that when you get clear about your values and you get clear about knowing you are being authentic and you're not bleeding on everybody, when you show up authentically, it's actually a business asset. It's not a liability. A lot of people are out here telling people, don't share your personal business. Don't talk about the problems that you've had in the past. You only want to put your best face forward. You want to, fake it till you make it. All of these different things are really being taught by a lot of intense energies, a lot of real masculine energies. I'm not talking about men. I'm talking about masculine energies. There's a lot of women that are showing up extreme masculine or extreme feminine. And I'm going to talk about that. We as human beings have both. We have masculine and feminine. And we do need to have a balance of that within ourselves in order to show up fully and completely as who we are. But back to the masculine energy, a lot of people talk about not showing up, not sharing the truth, really just sticking to business. Just stick into business. Well, the problem with that is that, again, that energy has an impact when you're not showing up fully authentic. And when you are being authentic, you start to connect with other people. People are able to relate to you. People can connect to you. This is where you find the people that are looking for you. When you are showing up authentically and you understand that being who you are, being authentic with who you are is an asset, your business starts to grow. It really does start to grow. When you can be your authentic self, you begin to build trust. You begin to have relationships with future clients that move much more quickly. You can have sales, your sales funnel moves very, very quickly. I mean, we're all used to receiving those emails that, everybody is hot on the trail of AI. I'm not, over the moon about it. Of course, it's an asset, just like many other things are assets. It's not the be and to all of, for me personally. It's definitely an asset though. But we're all receiving emails that everybody's using the same type of email because they're all using AI. They've missed putting their own self into their communication with their clientele. And then now I'm also seeing that people they're relying so much on AI that they actually don't know how to craft an email. They don't know how to craft a newsletter with their energy, with their personality in it, because they are using a program that everybody is using. Of course, you can tailor it to you. I know all of these things, but the fact of the matter is if AI went down tomorrow, would you feel strong in showing up with your voice? I'm all about teaching people to show up with their voice. And your voice is never going to be clearer than when you are being authentic. You have a brilliance within you. You have abilities within you that nobody else has. I have been producing live shows, live radio shows, and podcasts for more than 11 years. I've had my own show for 15 years now. Okay. I can hear the difference in somebody so quickly that is being authentic or somebody that is trying to show up as the professional. There is an energy within them, but there's also this level of confidence and comfortableness within who they are and sharing their knowledge and sharing their expertise. It is that level of confidence and comfortableness with who they are that draws people in, that actually has people connect with them. You can't connect with someone who is operating like a robot. Remember, your authenticity is a business asset for you. You think about someone that perhaps you've hired in the past, a business owner that you've connected with, and you really felt like, wow, like I've just met this person and I feel so connected to them. That would be because they are showing up in their authentic self and you're open to receiving that. Remember, there's a sender and there's a receiver in communication. So you, as the receiver, also need to be willing to be very present with that person and be willing to be authentic with them. When you drop your barriers, when you're not worried about how you're showing up, whether they're going to like you or not, but you be willing to be who you are to create a deeper connection, that's when things really, really start to shift. Being professional is about being real. And being professional is about standing in a crowd and being who you are while showing up as the business owner. Are you a business owner? Are you someone that loves what you do and you want the world to know about it? Do you desire to have those clients out there that you absolutely know can benefit from what you do? Do you desire to connect more with them? More and more and more with them. This is a major key. Being real is one of the greatest ways to do that. Who are the people on a lot of, especially on TikTok? TikTok is one of my favorite platforms because people are so real on there. They're not putting on the dog. Think of somebody on TikTok that you love because they are being real. Now, I will always show up to my show with my hair done and makeup and jewelry and a nice outfit on. I always will. That's who I am. That's me. Okay? Now, before my show tonight, was I in a t-shirt and sweatpants? Yes. That's also me. When I show up in a business setup, in a business situation, I'm always going to show up as the business CEO. Always. That doesn't mean that I'm being inauthentic. That actually matches my values. And that's what's so important. And that's what comes through very clearly when you connect with me. And when you are connecting with other people, you want to show up professionally. Maybe you just have a nice shirt on, you have your hair brushed, maybe you have a little lipstick on with a man, you might have a nice collar shirt on, whatever that is. As a professional in your industry, what does a professional look like? How does a professional behave? So show up with that and show up with your personality, with who you are. That is going to strengthen long-term loyalty with clients, with friendships, with employees, with team members, with colleagues. Being you is a business asset. Remember that. Remember that the next time you're hesitant about sharing something that you're questioning. Now, if you're really questioning it deeply, let it sit. Let it sit for a while. That's okay. That's all right. But really start to look at this. If you're getting nervous about something, if you're uncomfortable about something, doesn't mean it's an automatic no. Perhaps there's something inviting you to stretch who you are. Perhaps there's something inviting you to look deeper into what it is that's bothering you about this hesitation. And that's something that was going on for me this week as I was working with my coach, actually. There's a business relationship that I have with someone, and it's very, very frustrating. And we started to look at this. Why am I so frustrated by this business relationship? What is it within me that is really frustrated? What is it? It boiled down again to a value of being honorable and integrity. being integrous, really holding to your word, for me, is one of my greatest values. And it's something that can really impact me when I'm working with people that are not holding strong integrity, or they're not standing by their word as far as reliability goes. And what I had to really come to terms with, and I'm still working on this piece, is when someone is not being integrous, when they're not standing by their word, I've got to make the decision, do I still want this person to be my client? Or am I going to honestly step up and say, this isn't working for me? Because that's also being real. That's me being real with what works for me and what doesn't. And the really important thing is, yeah, it can be super uncomfortable to have that conversation. It can be super uncomfortable to walk away from that business opportunity. But sometimes when it really works, when we say, you know what, this isn't working anymore for me, and we walk away, our business and our world opens up even greater. Stepping up in your professionalism doesn't mean that you have to be polished and perfect. What it means is you identify what is and isn't working, and you really shift in what you're focusing on. You can say anything to anyone with kindness and regard for who they are, even when it isn't working for you. You don't have to blow things up in order to conclude a relationship. And that is something that you have to understand. It will pull you down, or it will have you stretch and grow who you are. And I say this on every show, your business only grows to the level that you are growing yourself. So, pardon me. So if something is really knocking at your door, if it's really bothering you, if it's on your mind a lot, I really invite you to dig into that. And if you choose to work with me, that is something that we will always be looking at. As we work on your business, we will look at what is challenging you, what is really bothering you, because there is so much information and opportunity within that it will grow you and grow your business even more. All right, my friends, we are up to our second break. Do stick around. We've got lots more to share with you. You're listening to Inspired Choices for Business Growth. I'm your host, Christine McIver. Again, email me, Christine@ChristineMcIver.com. We are on the Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
What if every business decision you made was aligned with a clear vision for your future success? Imagine the impact on your growth and profitability. On Inspired Choices for Business Growth, business optimization expert Christine McIver challenges you to focus your decisions on the bigger picture, helping you align your actions with the future you want for your business and yourself. With her expert insights and no-holds-barred approach, Christine guides you to optimize your business strategies for sustained growth and success. Ready to make choices that drive your business forward? Tune in now to start shaping your future today.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is Inspired Choices for Business Growth with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@ChristineMcIver.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everybody. If you are enjoying this show, I would so appreciate if you jump over to Apple Podcast, iTunes, formerly known as iTunes, and provide me with a review. I would be incredibly grateful for a 5-star review and some comments. You know, when you do that, you really help to get this information out there to other people. Or you could also share this if you're listening in an on-demand platform. You can just grab the link and share it with somebody that you know that's out there that maybe they're struggling in business or they're struggling to show up authentic and professional at the same time. So we've been talking a lot about, we're talking about energy, we're talking about your values, we're talking about how when you are actually following the truth of who you are and the truth of your values, on how you can show up and create greater reliability with relationships, how you can create actually increase your credibility and strengthen your bond with people. This doesn't mean you have to be besties with everybody. You don't have to be best friends with all of your employees or any of your employees for that matter. You don't have to be besties with your clients in order for your clients to say yes to you. In fact, if you try and blow that smoke, they will check it a mile away and walk away. When somebody wants to hire you, they want to hire you for your skills, not because of who you are, but the way that you show up and the way that you cultivate a relationship and you be real with them will make a huge difference in them choosing to work with you, choosing to hire you, and choosing to stick around. You know, this is something that I learned absolutely over time on how to really show up and use my voice in a way that people understood that I was being real. There are a lot of things that I think about. Let's talk about podcasting. You know, we have a big podcasting platform. We've had this for many years now, and there's a lot of people are out here on the internet that are talking about starting a podcast and giving you all sorts of information and telling you it's super simple and it's super easy and blah 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 blah. They're saying all sorts of things. There's a lot of things that are being said out there I do not agree with, and I do not hold back sharing that. I let people know why I believe that. I bring the receipts to the table and I show them what the value of having a podcast is and what that podcast can actually do for them in business. I'm not just blowing smoke. So when I am showing up and I'm being consistent with what I'm talking about with people, when I'm being interviewed, when people are asking me questions, when I'm working one-on-one, even in my shows, you will hear me consistently talk about things that are all related. And what that does is it begins to show me as not only someone who they can rely upon, they know who I am and how I'm going to show up. I'm also being human at the same time. But what it does when you're doing that, you build your identity and you reduce confusion around who you are and what you do. Like, right? When you go to a coffee shop and you want coffee, you get coffee. If you ordered coffee and it comes through and it kind of tastes like tea, you're like, wait a second, this isn't what I was expecting, right? When people connect with you, when people read content that you've written, when people listen to you talk, when they listen to your podcast, when they read a book that you've written. By the way, I wrote a book called CEO Without Apology. You can get it on Amazon. When they read your books, when they go to your website, are they seeing consistency everywhere? Are they seeing who they talk to every day? You know, one of the biggest things that I've referred to with many people who are doing podcasts is that if you're showing up and you are sharing content that is not yours, right? People are going into, again, they're going into AI, they're getting content, they think that's going to be really great, you know, it's going to create a really great show, I'm going to get lots of followers, I'm going to get lots of business, and eventually that's going to help me to get, you know, speaking gigs, like in-person speaking gigs, for instance. I tell people you do not want to rely upon that. Perhaps give you some ideas to cultivate some creativity. But if you're relying on all the information coming from AI, when you show up and you do a talk, right? that's not going to be the same person. Of course, you can get a talk written by AI, but when you start to deliver it and you're standing in front of people and somebody asks you a question, maybe something that was in a book or something that they heard on one of your shows, and it wasn't your idea, it isn't something that is true for you, you're going to be sending the wrong message. They're going to become very confused with who you are showing up in one place compared to who you're showing up to be in another place. And that is critical. It's so very important that you are being consistent with your message. And that way, it's really going to build who you are in the brand. Because remember, it doesn't matter what your business is. I know that I am my business's brand. I know that I set the stage with all the business lines that we have. I know that I am the person that really has created all of these business lines, and all of them reflect my values. The way that the entire team operates reflects my values and what is extremely important to me. Remember, if you have team members and they leave, are you able to slide into that position and ensure that what they were doing or the next person, what they do, is a match to your consistent message and to your values? This is how you show up professionally, that you show up and you are creating the same message again and again, and you don't have to make excuses or have to try to remember what it was that we agreed we were going to do. You showing up with your voice and being consistent in your messages is building your credibility. And that, my friends, that's what's really real. And that's what's valuable. That's what people value more than anything else today. It's like that pendulum swinging, we've swung over to doing it all by ourselves. And then we've swung over to, oh, look at all these technologies, all these things that we can be adding, all these tools we can be using. People, to me, are swinging way too far towards the AI, and they're missing their own voice in the messaging. You want to ensure that you are also using your emotional intelligence, which is going to build your authority, right? If you show up and you are being extremely feminine when extreme feminine is not who you are today, that is going to read like you are trying to be something you are not. It's not going to come through in all of the rest of the messaging that you have out there, right? If we are watching people that are showing up and somebody is extremely feminine or somebody is extremely masculine, and we're saying, oh, look at how successful they are. That's what I need to be doing. I need to mimic what they're doing. And that is not who you are. That is not going to create the business opportunities you believe that they will, because people are going to pick up on that's not you. You're not going to see me on social media bleeding all over social media, telling people all of my stories. Now, have I put things up there that when I've been going through a tough time? Yes, but I was real about what was going on with me, and it read clear. I see people out here putting up the poor me stories all the time. It's clickbait, right? They're trying to get people to click on it to grow the followers, to grow the likes and all the rest of it. And that may work for a time period. But when someone starts to, thank you, algorithms. Yes, they want to get the algorithms in their favor. And people are trying all sorts of tricks in order to do that. If that's who you really are, okay. But if it isn't, you're going to put so much time and energy into that, and it's going to eventually collapse. It is like trying to build a house on mud, right? It's just not going to stand over the long period of time. And then when people connect with you and that's not who you are, they're going to feel like they're duped, honestly. That's not showing up authentic and professional. Be real with who you are wherever you are, and watch to see what starts to change in your world. We're up to our last break of the show. Please stick around. Again, give me an email, Christine@ChristineMcIver.com. I would love to hear your thoughts on this and any questions you may have. You're listening to Inspired Choices for Business Growth. I'm your host, Christine McIver, and we're on the Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
What if every business decision you made was aligned with a clear vision for your future success? Imagine the impact on your growth and profitability. On Inspired Choices for Business Growth, business optimization expert Christine McIver challenges you to focus your decisions on the bigger picture, helping you align your actions with the future you want for your business and yourself. With her expert insights and no-holds-barred approach, Christine guides you to optimize your business strategies for sustained growth and success. Ready to make choices that drive your business forward? Tune in now to start shaping your future today.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices for Business Growth with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at christinemciver.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everybody. Wow, we've been going over a lot of things. It's a lot to consider. But again, the primary pieces of tonight's show is about getting in connection with your values and continuously showing up and being real without, bawling all over everybody and without, just throwing everything in front of people without considering the impact. One of the biggest things that I want you to remember is that when you're being real, it doesn't mean that you're being casual. It means that you're being transparent. When you are being transparent with people and you're being authentic in telling them the truth of what you know, what you feel, and the impact within the conversation that you're having, that's going to actually show them that you are being real. But it doesn't mean about just acting as though the conversation isn't important. It's not acting as though it's not important, right? Being casual, it's not, you can be comfortable without being casual, right? It's like, I remember this one time somebody was teaching people to do a podcast while they're walking down the street with their phone and just talk into it as if they were, showing up professional. That's not professional. That's very casual. And to me, that doesn't give a lot of regard to the listener. That would be a terrible audio to listen to. Yeah, it's something you can create on the go for sure. That covers one base, but it doesn't cover being professional. It covers being casual. Don't be casual. Be transparent. Be transparent and be willing to be transparent with your intentions, with your expectations, and the values with who you are. Let people know what your values are. Let them know what's important to you and how you are going to hold that relationship as important with your values. And if that is a match, you can create so much more quickly with a client when your values do match up. So yes, we all want to have the business. Yes, we all want to have the money come in. But I'm telling you, it will take more out of you personally when you're not being truthful and you're taking on business that is not a match for your values. I have done it. We've all done it. And I'm telling you, it's painful. It is absolutely painful to work with clients or companies that your values don't match. And it takes a toll out of you. It takes a toll out of you, and you do not grow your business. You certainly don't do anything for your mental state. You don't do anything even for your body, because when you are not calm, when your nervous system is out of whack because of the values you're compromising, it will show up in your body, and it will show up. My last corporate job, I was definitely out of alignment with the organization. There was a major shift. I was massively out of alignment with my values with them, and I wouldn't give up working. I kept pushing myself and pushing myself, and eventually my body shut down. I had a nervous breakdown, and it was the best thing that happened because I couldn't get out of my head that I needed to walk away. I bought into, I can't give this job up. I need the money. That's what was going through my head. How many times are you doing that? I can't give up because I need the money. Well, it's a great thing that our bodies often have our back faster than we do. And that's what occurred to me. It pulled me out of that job. And yeah, it was painful. And yeah, there was a lot of anger and tears, but I grew up through that. And I was able to then recognize what was important to me. And then I started my business. And I'm so grateful that I did that. That was 18 years ago that occurred. And I don't forget that. I don't forget that experience, because when I'm in alignment with my values, things grow. And when I'm not, it starts to take a toll on me. And, I believe strongly that everyone should have pleasure in their business. They should enjoy what they are doing. They should look forward to working within their business. They should look forward to opening up to creativity and new possibilities. And when you are not in alignment with your values, that's not going to happen. Your creativity is going to be at risk. Your prosperity is going to be at risk. Your mental state is going to be at risk. You being real with who you are and having some strong, open conversations with yourself and with your coach is going to make a world of difference. When you demonstrate who you've become, when you have an unapologetic voice about who you are, that's you being real. And it gives people around you the permission to also grow and be who they are. When you show up in the world and you're being real and you're being a professional, you become a leader. That's what a true leader is being authentic, being in alignment with their values, and showing up so that they can show the rest of the world what it is to be unapologetically who they are, and at the same time be able to lead and be able to hold their head high and say, I am a professional. I am somebody that you can count on. You can rely upon me, and you know what you're going to get with me. Whether you're talking to me one-on-one, whether you're reading my content, whether you're listening to my show, whether you meet me in the coffee shop, you know you're going to get the same person. Can you say that? And that is something, that is a person I had to work up to. That was not who was showing up all the time, right? I've definitely had my opportunities for growth, and I know that I'm going to have more opportunities for growth. I know that I'm going to have different situations come up where I need to continue to step up and to be authentic with myself and to be honest and professional at the same time. When you are being authentic, when you are showing up with who you are, when you are showing up with your voice, and you own the truth of who you are, you're going to change your world, and you're going to change your business and your bank account. My friends, I am so glad that you were here tonight. Next week, we're going to have another show for you. Next week's show is actually called Stop Playing the Victim in Your Own Business. It's going to be another come to Jesus conversation, because that's what I do. I am so glad that you're here. I hope you'll join us next week. If you're not able to, you can go over and check out all the podcasts anywhere that you listen to your podcast. Just type in my name and you will see there's probably more than 500 shows that you can listen to. If you have an idea or you have a question, again, feel free to email me, Christine at ChristineMcIver.com. And if you're somebody out there that is ready to bring their authentic voice to the world, and you want to know more about having a show and working here with our team, Inspired Choices Network, and learning how to get your voice out there, Let's have a conversation, because when your voice is in the world, you're making an impact that the world really needs to hear. I appreciate you. I really hope that you have an amazing week. I want you to remember that you can always make another choice. Until next time, take good care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to Inspired Choices for Business Growth. Christine McIver will be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Be sure to join us again for you and your business. Until then, remember to make the choices that align with your true desires. This is your business, and it's time to create the future you truly want.